Hi everyone, welcome to my Medium tutorial. And in this first part of the video, I'll be covering like navigational basics of how your controllers actually work. Actually, they are kind of your hands now already. And yeah, let's just begin. So if I push up on the left thumbstick, you're gonna be getting this palette, and for me personally, right, I actually use most of the tools over here other than swirl and the inflate tool. So I'll just run through with you like what kind of functions they have individually, and we'll start with the clay tool first. So this is actually kind of like your main workhorse tool. You can actually draw with the clay tool like this. It really feels like a pencil, and you react to your arm movement actually pretty well. So in combination with the clay tool, right, what people normally do in Medium once you are used to it is you have the undo function on your left hand. You can see here as indicated by these two little triangle stuff here. So to undo a stroke, you push left on your thumbstick and you step back one time. So if you do it multiple times, and you can actually just run back through your history. And if you were to do it the other way around, which is to push right, you actually redo whatever you have erased. So yeah, this is kind of like how people, you can see in the videos, to quickly like toggle through certain states of their sculpt rapidly. And the other thing I want to touch on actually is also like size of your brush tool. So if you push up on your right thumbstick on your right controller, actually your master hand to be exact, you just change the brush size, which is actually the same as like how you guys change your brush size in your various drawing apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, etc. So the thing about Medium, I guess people have to be aware of is a voxel program. So it's kind of like resolution dependent, so you can see like these little breakups over here if it's too low res. And what you can do to counter that actually is to push up, is to push down over here, and you will see the increase or decrease resolution function under actions. And if you were to like hover over the thing, you will actually see like how dense this mesh is. So let's just decrease it just to see. So if you see like the squares kind of like get larger, but also at the same time you see like the shapes kind of break up, it means that it's a lower resolution state you are in, and that means less detail. And the opposite holds true. Like if you were to increase resolution, you can actually draw some, if you increase it some more, you can draw like pretty fine lines. But of course all of this stuff is largely dependent on your computer performance, okay? And I guess it's like you have to plan what areas you want more detail and what you can get away with less detail. So I guess that's kind of the caveat at the moment for VR for me personally. Moving on from the clay tool introduction, there are some other features that we can talk about. That's actually on the master hand side of the controller, and one of it is the extra settings they have here. So when you press it, you can actually see all sorts of different kind of options for you to customize like what your clay tool can do. Personally, right, I just kind of actually really just adjust the steady stroke or if I might just toggle the constraints on and off occasionally. Like toggling on and off actually gives you a locked axis where you can just draw and kind of like a fixed line like this. So yeah, I think it's pretty helpful for people who just kind of want to do kind of like more hard surface objects. Like you can make a fence here pretty quickly. And a side note also is, which I forgot to mention earlier, is you have the model here, and you can actually use like your trigger buttons where your middle finger is to kind of just hold down and rotate the model on both hands. So you can actually hear the sound feedback when you do that. It's like a small bump. So yeah, and steady stroke, as the name implies, by default, if I'm not wrong, actually it's off. You just like whatever you draw is kind of almost reactive in real time. But if you turn on steady stroke, what it does is actually kind of like adding like a mouse delay kind of effect to it. It gives you a bit more precise control depending on what you're trying to do. But if you like toggle it maybe like too far up, it just kind of takes a bit too long for the tool to react. So yeah, just play around with it and get yourself familiarized to it and see like what are the settings over here that you might prefer to use. And the other thing I like to do a lot is, it's like you can see like the tool option. The tool here is currently green, which means it's the addition. But if you if you press on the tool button, the green button here, pretty quickly, double tap, it turns into a red sphere, which means you can actually subtract volume from your meshes like this. So some videos you see like people toggling the stuff pretty quickly like this, and you get like the audio feedback that you're toggling between the different states of addition and subtraction. Yep. Hi, so in this section of the tutorial, we're just going to be talking a bit more about like one more feature of the Clay 2 that we've been going through for the past, I think 5-6 minutes. So just hold down on your tool settings over here, and you'll bring up the same Clay options menu again. So you will see stamps. So what they are actually like kind of like little Lego blocks that you can use to augment or build like structures for your sculpt. So in this case, I selected one of these like tools, one of these I mean stamps, and it would be wise actually to increase the layer resolution slightly, because it's like it will just hold the detail better for it. So you can see here, this is one of the layers with higher resolution. Let's just make one more layer and just show you the one which is kind of like lower resolution. So by default, as you can see, it doesn't really hold any kind of like detail at all. So just bear that in mind when you're using stamps, just to like just toggle the increased resolution settings a bit more. Although you might want to kind of think of how much detail may go there depending on your computer performance. So since we're on the topic of stamps, I just want to go through one more navigational kind of thing that they have in Medium, which is your snapping options. So just to get the grid stamp first, by default they are off, just to give you like the kind of freeform sculpting nature of it. But the trick to this for doing like hard surface objects is to have this and the angle snap on and toggle it depending on what you're doing. So we'll just go through like grid snapping first. So you will see in your hierarchy editor over here, that you actually have a grid setting that is off by default. And once you turn on the options on your left hand, you can see you can actually set your grid spacing, and you set your unit of measurement over here. In this case, let me just try something a bit more obvious, maybe 5 cm or something. So you can see that your tool has actually changed, and you are actually able to sculpt with a bit more precision than the freeform settings you are used to. So you can actually use this in combination with the angle snap just for extra precision, and you can lock it with the line tool option over here that we talked about just now. So for the angle snap, you can toggle between the various kind of like angles over here, but for me personally, what works and what I like to use is 90 degrees, which is your right angle stuff that we just drawn. 60 degrees, you know, for this kind of like little protrusions. But my personal favorite is actually 30 degrees. Gives me like a lot of like control on how I can do like diagonal volumes. Yeah, I can make actually like a brace over here fairly easily with this snapping options. And the one with, at least for me, it has the most control is 15 degrees. But it makes the tool a bit more, I don't know, finicky, I guess. Makes it a bit fussy before it locks onto any kind of angle. So it may take a while to get used to the way it works, but this for me, this is what I've kind of been doing for the past, I guess, year or so when they release this feature. And yeah, just feel free to experiment with these options here and the grid snapping and see like what really works for you. Because fundamentally speaking, like I guess everyone kind of like visualizes objects a bit differently in VR or so. So my method may not actually be the best for your kind of thinking way. So yeah, just let me know if you figure out something cool, and we can just get in touch and have a chat about it. So until then, we'll be moving on to part 2 of this introduction to the move tool, and just talk about like some of the options over there. So see you later. Thanks.